Hello everyone. This video is about new CSR Act in India. India's New Companies Act 2013 has introduced the provision for corporate social responsibility. The concept of CSR rests on the ideology of give and take. Companies take resources in the form of raw materials, human resource, etc. from the society. By performing the task of CSR activities, the companies are giving something back to the society. Ministry of Corporate Affairs has notified Section 135 and Schedule 7 of the Companies Act as well as the provisions of the company's corporate social responsibility policy rules, which has come into effect from 1st April 2014 and certain amendments in May 2016. As you know, company is an artificial person created by law. It depends on the society for meeting its requirements. They have the right to use the resources of the society. Just like having rights, they also have certain responsibility which they should not ignore. It is called the give and take concept. By performing CSR activities, companies can fulfill their responsibility. Earlier, CSR was undertaken by the companies on their own, but now Companies Act 2013 introduced provision for CSR and made it compulsory. Applicability. Section 135 of the Companies Act 2013 provides the threshold limit for applicability of the CSR to a company. Net worth of the company to be rupees 500 crore or more, or turnover of the company to be rupees 1000 crore or more, or net profit of the company to be rupees 5 crore or more. Further, as per the CSR rules, the provisions of CSR are not only applicable to Indian companies but also applicable to branch and project offices of a foreign company in India. Expenditure on CSR does not form a part of business expenditure. CSR is mandatory but not for all the companies. There are certain conditions. Those companies which come under this criteria has to undertake CSR compulsorily. There are three main criterias. First one, net worth of the company to be rupees 500 crore or more, or turnover to be 1000 crore or more, or net profit to be 5 crore or more. If a company fulfills any one of these criteria, the company should undertake CSR compulsorily. Even the foreign companies branches which are working in India are not exception for these rules. CSR committee and policy. Every qualifying company requires spending of at least 2% of its average net profit for the immediately preceding 3 financial year on CSR activities in India. Further, the qualifying company will be required to constitute a committee, that is CSR committee, of the board of directors consisting of 3 or more directors. The CSR committee shall formulate and recommend to the board the policy which shall indicate the activities to be undertaken, recommend the amount of expenditure to be incurred on the activities referred, and monitor the CSR policy of the company. The board shall take into account the recommendations made by the CSR committee and approve the CSR policy of the company. These companies are required to use at least 2% of their average net profit which they have earned in the past 3 years, that is average of 3 years net profit for CSR activities. They have to constitute a CSR committee with 3 or more directors. This committee is responsible to look after all the activities coming under CSR policy of the company. Activities under CSR. The activities that can be done by the company to achieve its CSR obligations include Schedule 7 of the Companies Act 2013. This Schedule 7 describes several activities that can be undertaken by a company under CSR obligations. Let's see one by one. First one, eradicating hunger, poverty, and malnutrition, promoting healthcare, including preventive healthcare and sanitation, including contribution to Swachh Bharat Kosh set up by the central government for the promotion of sanitation and making available safe drinking water. Poverty is considered as one of the biggest problems in our country. It causes several other issues like hunger, malnutrition, poor health condition, etc. Company can contribute money to eradicate poverty under CSR policy. Promoting education, including special education and employment, enhancing vocation skills specifically among children, women, and differently abled livelihood enhancement projects. Education is another area which needs attention in our country. Companies can contribute to education sector by establishing schools, colleges, or by empowering children, women, elderly or differently abled people. Promoting gender equality, empowering women, setting up homes and hostels for women and orphans, setting up old age homes, daycare centers and such other facility for senior citizens, and measure for reducing inequality faced by socially and economically backward groups. Eradicating inequalities in different areas is one of the recent requirements. CSR gives scope for eradicating inequalities by empowering women and by strengthening socially and economically backward groups. Ensuring environmental sustainability, ecological balance, protection of flora and fauna, animal welfare, agroforestry, conservation of natural resources, and maintaining quality of soil, air, and water, including contribution to the Clean Ganga Fund set up by central government for rejuvenation of river Ganga. Environmental issues affect both demography and economy of a country. The companies can contribute their fund for protecting environment under CSR policy. Protection of national heritage, art and culture, including restoration of buildings, sites and sites of historical importance and works of art, setting up public libraries, promotion and development of traditional arts and handicrafts. Every country has its own culture and tradition. Protecting these art and culture of historical importance is very essential for every country. Companies can contribute their money for promoting national heritage under CSR policy. Measures for the benefit of armed forces veterans, war widows, and their dependents. Every country requires a strong defense force for protecting itself against wars. Contributing to defense is also a part of CSR policy. Training to promote rural sports, nationally recognized sports, Paralympic sports, and Olympic sports. Sports is another area which brings recognition to a country. Encouraging sports is one of the part of CSR policy. Contribution to Prime Minister's National Relief Fund or any other fund set up by central government for socio-economic development and relief and welfare of the scheduled castes, the scheduled tribes, and other backward classes, minorities, and women. Companies can contribute their money to different funds established by the government for developing different sectors of the economy. Contributions or funds provided to technology incubators located within academic institutions which are approved by central government. Technological development is very essential in this era. CSR policy includes contribution to technology incubators approved by central government. Rural development projects. CSR policy gives scope for contributing projects which focuses on rural development, slum area development. Developing the slum area is also a part of CSR policy. These are different areas which comes under Schedule 7 of Companies Act, where a company can contribute to fulfill their CSR obligations. Government scheme. CSR should not be interpreted as a source of financing the resource gaps in the government schemes. Use of corporate innovations and managerial skills in the delivery of public goods is at the core of CSR implementation by the companies. CSR funds of the companies should not be used as a source of funding government projects. The government has no role to play in approving and implementing CSR projects. CSR is completely different from funding government projects. Government has no role in CSR activities which has to be performed by the companies. CSR should be undertaken for the development of the society in which the company is working. Local area. For the purpose of spending the amount earmarked for corporate social responsibility activities, the company shall not limit itself to local area or areas around it where it operates, but shall select areas across the country. Company may also choose to associate with two or more companies for fulfilling the CSR activities provided that they are able to report individually. When it comes to CSR, companies should not limit themselves to local areas. They should broaden their perspective. They can select the area across the country. They can take help from other companies. Different companies can join hands together for CSR purpose, but they have to maintain different CSR records. The CSR committee shall also prepare the CSR policy in which it includes the projects and programs which is to be undertaken, prepare a list of projects and programs which a company plans to undertake during the implementation year, and also focus on integrating business models with social and environmental priorities and process in order to create share value. The company can also make the annual reports of CSR activities in which they mention the average net profit for the 3 financial years and also prescribed CSR expenditure. But if the company is unable to spend the minimum required expenditure, the company has to give the reasons in the board report for non compliance, that there are no penal provisions attracted by it. As we already know, the company set up CSR committee for CSR purpose. They decide the activities that the company should undertake to fulfill their CSR requirements. They are also supposed to maintain CSR reports. If they fail to meet their CSR requirements, they should give reasons in board report to avoid any consequences. It is all about new CSR Act in India. Thank you.